Hi, my dear students. My name is Shubhangi Sarunke, HOD of Civil Department, B Shift. Today, we are going to study about and practical number 9 of highway engineering, that is, visit for identification of defects in the road. Let me see the practical significance. The road may undergoes a various type of defects in it by the age of the road. The unusability of the road may get affected due to such a defects. Therefore, it is necessary to examine the road periodically. The main the maintenance of the road can be done after checking the present situation of the road surface. This particular assignment helped to observe a different defects in the road by visiting the roadside. The possible remedied measures can be suggested against the each defects observed. So, our main aim in this experiment is to visit the road, not only to visit but also to identify the various type of defects. So, let's start. The first is a relevant program outcome. Which all the program outcome we are going to study in this is we should have a basic knowledge. Basic knowledge means an ability to apply and knowledge of basic maths, science and engineering to solve the engineering problems. Then we should have an PO2, that is a discipline knowledge. In a discipline knowledge is an ability to apply a discipline specific knowledge to solve a core applicant engineering problems. Then we require PO4, that is engineering tools, and apply relevant civil technology and tools with an understanding of in limits. Then we require PO8, that is individuality and teamwork. The function effectively as a leader and the team member in the multidiscipline teams means you have that ability, or you should have in you an ability to work in a team, and even if you can work as a leader of the team. So this all knowledge or this all ability you should have to solve this experiment or to perform this experiment. Then the relevant course outcome, which all the course outcome we require for this experiment is undertaking the maintenance of the road and drainage. Now the next is a practical outcome. Visit the construction road to suggest the possible remedial measures against the observed defects. It means that after we see or after we identify the defects on the road, we should suggest some remedy so that we can solve the problem. Then competitive and practical skill. Identify the road defects in the various road. This is the main part. First we need to identify which type of a defects is present on the road. So let's start it. Okay, the which all defects are there on the road. First is the corrugation on the road surface. The wave nature of the road surface may occur in a WBM road commonly. It is mainly due to insufficient and improper compaction during a construction. Corrugation of the road means on the road surface there is an up and down, means there is a wavy type, uh, something has been there which is in a wavy form. If you see that there is some wavy form present on the road, that is a one type of defects, and that defect is known as the corrugation. The second is the formation of potholes. As you know, day to day life, there you can see at least one pothole on the road. So let me see what is the pothole. The ditch formed on the road surface due to an section of binding material by pneumatic wheel tires of the vehicle. It is caused due to loose the subsurface of WBM and bitumen road. Why the potholes are generally generated? Because the binding material lose its adhesion property. If the binding material loses adhesion property, obviously the material will come out of that place. If material is starting come out of that place, then obviously the pothole is going to be generate on that area. Then the next is a formation of crack. The non-compacted sublayer of the road gets settled down during the vehicular road, result in a formation of crack. The initial crack may get expand to a great extent due to temperature variation. You can see the main what we call why the crack has been happened because of the non-compacting sublayers. If you're not compacting properly, then obviously after some time that part will going to go down, and because of that the crack will be formed. And if even though the crack is very thin like a hair, then also day to day, because of the day to day vehicular load, because of the impact of this environment and everything, the crack is going to be expand. And if the crack is going to be expand, then obviously the defects will be formed. Then the next is a removing in a binding material. The wearing surface of WBM road may undergoes the losing of aggregate under a vibration. Hence, the aggregate will get removed. Why this binding material has been removed? If a binding material doesn't have a proper binding properties, then obviously the material is going to be removed. Especially in a WBM road, if we are not properly vibrating and the loose surface or a loose material is not compacted, then obviously that one is going to be removed, and there and at that place the defects will be formed because of the poor binding property of the material. Okay, the next one is a rut formation. The rut is a depression or the groove on into a road by the travel of the wheel. The rut can be formed by wearing as from the sudden snow tides, commonly in the cool climate areas, or they can form through a deformation of a asphalt concrete pavement or a sub-base material. The rut like a depression can be formed on the gravel road by the erosion from the flowing water. It means that the rut is forming. What is the rut? If if we are constructing the road, while constructing the road, okay, if it is not properly compacted, if it is not properly constructed, then obviously after some time, if the vehicular load is going or the tire, especially the tire is going from that particular area for longer period of time, that is in that same part, then obviously you can see after some days the rut of the tire is been there, and because of that you can see the crack is forming, the longitudinal crack has been formed in that area because the vehicular load, that is the tire has been travel in that particular area many times, because of that the rut is forming. Not only that, even in the snow, if you go for in a Himalaya region and everywhere, even if the snow is accommodated over there, then if your vehicular tire is moving on that snow, then you can see the rut is formed on that slope because of the vehicular tire. The next one is a crushing of aggregate. The aggregate in a WBM road may get crushed due to continuous movement or a dynamic load. The higher contact pressure of the iron tires, wheels, vehicular induce the attraction which result in a breaking of aggregate. The aggregate get power if the strength of aggregate is not tested properly towards use. The strength and the durability of the road surface reduce proportionally. It means that even though the aggregate has been crushed and placed on the road because of the vehicular load, because of the dynamic load which is being applied on the road, because of that the aggregate will more further get crushed. Not only that, if we are not crushing aggregate properly, then also if we are not testing aggregate properly through the strength and everything, obviously the aggregate will lose its strength. Or if we are not crushing aggregate properly, then also the aggregate will crush out because of the vehicular load, and its strength and durability will get reduced. Then the next problem is a dust nuisance. The formation of the powder of the loose aggregate give rise to a dust nuisance in mixing a traffic flow. As you can see in the village area in a summer season, there will be a dust nuisance because of the aggregate has been crushed, or because of the soil is not compacted or watered properly. If you are not compacting or watering properly the soil, then obviously the dust nuisance will be formed if the vehicle is moving from that area. As you can see in the diagram, the first diagram is all about an rut formation, the second is a potholes, the third one is a loose aggregate. Then you can see even the corrugation you can find at the center. You can see there is a corrugation has been formed where the truck is going, that is a nuisance, dust nuisance has been formed. Then there is a rut formation. Okay, so this all defects you can generally see on the, even on the flexible pavement, even on the rigid pavement. Then what is the procedure? The identify the accessibility site location of the defective road, that is WBM, bitumen, concrete for the visit. Make the crack observe on the road surface and measure its length and extent using measuring tape. Also mark the number of the potholes present on the road surface using a lime powder. Remove the loose material fraction from the marked pothole. Now measure the dimension of the potholes in mm, that is the length, width and the depth using a tape. Identify the other defects on the road, that is rut formation, corrugation, crushing of aggregate, dust nuisance on the road surface. So it is a very easy experiment, that is we have to visit a road. After visiting the road, you can see there is a various type of defects. We have to identify which type of a defects is that, and then if it is a rut or it is a crack, we should take the measurement of that layer of that crack by a tape, measuring tape. You have to take the length of the crack, and if there is a pothole, then obviously you have to clear that pothole. After clearing, you have to take the length, width and height of that pothole, and we have to write in our observation table. So let's see further. So this is your observation table. As you can see in the observation table, what you have to, after visiting the road, you have to write the type of a defects you observe and the causes of the road defects. That is, if you found, as you can see in the observation table, that first is a pothole. In the pothole, we have measured the length, depth and the width, and we have written the measurement. Then you can see we find the crack also. So we have written the length of the crack. And in the second row, we have written the causes of formation of the pothole. Obviously, why the pothole is been formed, and obviously why the crack is been formed. Okay, you can read out, and this is the cause of the road defects. Okay, then what will be our observation table and what will be our result on the observation table is the defects occur in the road is due to vehicular or a natural effects. Obviously, both will affect our road surface. Then if the both affect our road surface, then obviously the defects will be formed because of both. Then the defects observed on the given road surface are repairable. If you find out it can be repairable, then obviously you have to write there it can be repairable. And any defects you will find out, obviously that will have some or the other remerit. So we should write that whatever defects we have found, obviously we can repair it. So this is all about the experiment number 9, and it is very easy experiment. Generally we have to visit some roads and we have to take a dimension of all the defects. We have to take the photos of all the defects and we have to note down why the defects can be caused. So if you don't understand anything, please contact me. Thank you everyone.